Hi, I'm Walker&Williams, and today we are comparing HBAR with Fantom. Thank you ever so much for everybody who voted on Twitter for which HBAR versus video I should make next. So Fantom won, so that's the one we're going to be doing first. And before I get into the video, just very quickly, I've got this Hedera HBAR to Moon fantastic HBAR gold coin. And for your chance to win this, dead simple. All you've got to do is follow NFT LC, like the post that mentions the gold coin, retweet it, and you get one entry. For every person you tag in the post, you get an additional entry. Simple as that, and I'll announce the winner this week. Good luck, guys. And by the way, if you're wondering, NFTLC is going to be an amazing place in a venue in London with free entertainment, free refreshments. If you're interested in the NFT space as an artist, a developer, an investor, smart contracts, the metaverse, any of that stuff, or you just want to come along and meet like-minded people, I'll be there doing some talks live. You can be on YouTubes with me, so that'll be quite cool. And there'll be guys and girls talking at the event that are far more knowledgeable than me too. So if it's something you'd like to be involved with, then let me know in the comments below, or head over to Twitter for your chance to win the last of these magnificent gold coins. Anyway, straight to the video. So, HBAR versus Fantom. We're going to run through HBAR first. Some of the things I've put on the board as this evolves, the HBAR versus, as this evolves, we're getting a little bit better. So you know, or you should know, all of HBAR's sort of fundamentals. If you're new to the channel and you're new to Hedera Hashgraph, don't worry. I'll put a link in the description below to a video that describes HBAR, Hedera Hashgraph, and this describes the project and all the fundamentals. Watch that video first, and then you can come back and the HBAR versus makes a lot more sense. What I don't want to do, I want to be loyal to my day ones, and I don't want to go through all the different bits about HBAR, Hedera Hashgraph, because they already know, so I'm not going to be doing that. But, so these are comparables and points that make sense with the Fantom. So 50 billion coins in total supply, 1 to 3 seconds currently to finality. The price today is 0.37 cents. It's Hashgraph, obviously it's Hedera Hashgraph, which is DAG. The founders are Dr. Lehman Bird and Mance Harmon. And then the other points there, the lower points here from Shanhan Bank down to the Hedera Foundation, we're going to talk about those as we go along, talking about Fantom. Okay, so what is Fantom? So Fantom's got 3.175 billion coins in total supply, so quite a bit less than Hedera's 50 billion. 1 to 2 seconds to finality, which is fantastic. And the price today is currently $2.01, so that's as of this morning. It's also a DAG, which, if you're wondering, is a directed acyclical graph. So the founder is Dr. ABI, and again, he's a doctor, he's the real deal, a lot like Dr. Lehman Bird. He's started many projects, he's big in the math space, and he's a genuine person. He's not an entrepreneur who is in this new space and isn't really committed. This is his life. This sort of math-based stuff is his life, and I've looked into the guy, he's the real deal. However, we've got a bit of a red flag, and the red flag is he's actually nothing to do with Fantom anymore. He bailed, and he bailed quite early doors as well, and no one knows why. So he's founded Fantom, he's come up with the concept, great, fantastic, and then he skipped town. Won't answer the phone, nobody knows why. So that's a bit of a red flag, a bit of a concern, because clearly, it might be completely innocent. It might be that, the guy just had a baby, and it could be something personal, was diagnosed with something or whatever, who knows, but it's not great, and there's definitely something to be investigated there, and I can't find anything that says why he bailed. Loads of speculation, loads of opinions, can't find any hardcore facts. So, very early days, Andre Cronje was in charge. He's an Australian DeFi, which is decentralized finance guy. He's invented quite a lot in the space. And again, he's a legit guy. He's the real deal. Now you can see, when I was doing my research, I actually got quite confused because there's that many people that have come and gone, and there's only a couple. I think there's only actually one guy left. That's from the sort of day one, the original founders. But yeah, Andre was in charge. He's now, I've written now and then crossed it out. He was in charge, and he's an Australian, like I said, DeFi, decentralized finance investor, and he's in that space. He is now just an advisor. So he actually left, by the way, and came back. So he did a bit of a Steve Jobs there. And again, that's another red flag, because it's like, why are people leaving and never coming back? Or why are they leaving and then jumping back in and then changing roles, and some people are stepping back? And there's a few points like this about this project where there's a bit of a question mark, bit of a red flag, but we'll discover those as we go along. Now, maybe to you personally, no big deal. People come and go, so what? Big whoop. But for me, you know, if this is the one, if you're going to put your life savings into something, and that's how I do these videos, I imagine that it's all or nothing, okay? So we're going to put our life savings into this, so it matters. Things matter. How good the website is, it matters. There's nothing that doesn't matter to me. So the founder running off, that to me matters, you know, because it's like, why? We need to investigate that. I can't find an answer. It worries me. Okay, so anyway, Andre, he was in charge. He stepped back. He's now just an advisor via the Fantom Foundation, which, by the way, is registered in the Cayman Islands. Another red flag. Why? Because the Cayman Islands don't hold corporations to the same standards in disclosure. So the Cayman Islands is clearly famous. Everyone's heard of the Cayman Islands for tax avoidance, evasion, you know, and there are two different camps there. One's completely legitimate, one's far less so. Not legitimate at all. And then there's obviously we're all grown-ups, there's grey areas within both camps. And some criss and cross, and some stay in one and some stay in the other. But for the purposes of this, it's registered in the Cayman Islands. So it doesn't have to disclose as much information as it would have to do if it were in the UK, for example. So it's a red flag, because why? It's a non-profit anyway. So I don't really understand that decision. For me, that's not really a very forward-thinking decision, because how does that look to people who care? And again, you might say, not bothered, doesn't bother me, but I'm just making the point. They originally claimed on their website that they were going to be reaching 300,000 transactions per second. They've pulled that back to 4,500, so it's quite a substantial drop. This says two things to me. One, that at least they're honest and willing to admit that they made a mistake. So, you know, they've made a big claim. We're going to be offering 300,000 transactions, standard transactions, not a smart contract or complicated transactions, but 300,000 transactions per second. Big claim. When they realised that this wasn't going to happen, they've pulled it back and they've said, actually, we're going to be doing 4,500 plus transactions. So you could say, well, yeah, they're honest. You know, they shot for the moon, they missed, and they're honest about it. So yeah, so that's a tick in the box. The other way of looking at it, or 50-50, the same way of looking at it, but in the same sort of vein, is that Hedera do the opposite. So Hedera start by saying, for example, this isn't a quote, but for example, start by saying, we're going to be doing 3,000 transactions per second. But we hope to do one day XYZ, but we're doing 3,000 transactions per second. Then that changes. Okay, we've now tested on the main net to 10,000 transactions per second, and we plan to so on and so forth. And they seem to be building in stages, making sure that what they say is accurate and correct, and then building on that base and just moving forward incrementally, rather than saying we're going to be infinite transactions technically through sharding, and then not putting anything else on their website. No. 15,000 transactions per second, 20, and so on and so forth as they do it. So they do it as they go along, a lot less hype. But that said, I don't know of anything, and believe me, I don't know of any claims that Hedera have made that haven't come to fruition. And so I don't know, I like to think, but I don't know for sure facts that they would be as honest as Fantom, who have made a big claim. It's become a fallacy, and then they've been honest about that. Because, by the way, I can give you a couple of names of some projects that have done this and then just never changed that on their website, or at least never backed it up with anything. So they've got decent partnerships as well. So they've got some pretty decent partnerships. They've got Traveler.com, they've got ETH Classic Labs, Waves, Gravity, OKX, and they've also got some pretty big customers. So, you know, again, these are pretty good, but when you compare their partners with the Hedera Hashgraph Governing Council, who are genuine partners in the sense that these guys have partnered up, some in the form of a customer, because that seems to be a big thing in the blockchain space. in the cryptocurrency space is that if somebody's a customer, people are very quick to call other people partners. But these guys know these are legitimate claims. Traveller is operating on the Fantom platform, for example. So that's fair enough. Yeah, you can call them a partner. But let me give you an example of this. So on their own website, Fantom call Crypto.com a partner. That's because Crypto.com list FTM, the Fantom cryptocurrency coin, on their platform. Does that make them a partner? Not really. I'm a customer of Molton Brown. Molton Brown toiletries, they make beautiful soaps and toiletries. We stock them in the hotels. We are therefore a customer of theirs. I would not imagine or try to convince you that I am a partner of Molton Brown because I bought some soap once. So, there's a little bit tricky, but there's a lot of that going on. That's to be forgiven because there is a lot of that going on in the space. So they called Crypto.com a partner, and you can go on the website and check for yourself. They call Crypto.com. Crypto.com are not their partner. They just list FTM coin. So they are transferable with the Ethereum network, which is fantastic. That's a big plus because there's a lot of people on the moment on the Ethereum network who are trying to get off the Ethereum network. How did that come about? I've talked about it a couple of times before, but effectively Ethereum was first. So you had Bitcoin, and that was great, but it was just money. So it was just a way of transferring value. Couldn't do much and still can't really do much more else on Bitcoin. Super slow, far better and more decentralized than the system we had before that. But compared to what we have now, it's a dinosaur. And 12 years in tech is dinosaur age. And then Ethereum came along and enabled smart contracts. And then we had obviously CryptoPunks, CryptoKitties and all that NFT stuff through the smart contracts, through NFTs. And that meant that everybody obviously jumped on there because it was the only one available of size, of scale. And it was fantastic. And it was a massive leap forward from Bitcoin and where we were. But the world has moved on and Ethereum hasn't. So gas fees, the damage it does to the environment through proof of work and proof of mining and all that sort of stuff. So everyone's moved on. So everyone's trying to get off the Ethereum platform now. OpenSea, if they don't move soon, I've said it before, if OpenSea don't move soon, they're going to be left behind. It's going to be one of the other big platforms that supports, like Fantom, like Hedera Hashgraph, like Solana, that support one of these big eBay-esque buy and sell NFT shops. So you've got all these people, all these potential customers, potential users, potential developers, potential artists on the Ethereum network. So any project that creates a bridge between what they're doing, which is far more efficient, far cheaper, far quicker, ABFT, Byzantine, fault-tolerant proof, more secure, quicker to mint, quicker to create the smart contracts. Anyone doing that with a bridge to Ethereum opens themselves up to be the chosen one for the vast number of people. So that's a really important thing. Hedera Hashgraph, by the way, if I'd made this video, even a month ago, then I wouldn't, Hedera Hashgraph wouldn't have been able to counter to that. However, with the launch of Hashport means that Hedera Hashgraph is also now compatible with Ethereum. So you've got Ethereum, imagine that as a really, really densely populated island in the center, and then there's bridges coming off the island to these beautiful new, far superior islands with a lot more activities, cleaner water, so on and so forth. And these guys are one of the platforms with a bridge, and these guys are one of the platforms with a bridge. So which bridge is chosen, is up to the people on the island. Customers, now these are the people that are using the Fantom network for one reason or another. Their customers include the government of Afghanistan, the government of Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan. So they're using it for different reasons, by the way, healthcare and a couple of other things, just general currency, to build general currency, and they're looking at that and in talks. Now I have put a question mark next to Uzbekistan because I couldn't find anything that confirms that for sure. There was a lot of talk about it, and I know they are in talks, that's legit, so I can write that on the board because it is legit, they're in talks, but I haven't seen anything signed, sealed and delivered on that one. So worth mentioning, but not solid yet. February 21st, this is a bit of a problem now. February the 21st, so February just gone, Fantom network crashed due to the main validator nodes not being able to keep up with the rest of the validators. So there was a load of sizable companies coming on, and they were buying, and they were investing in the project by buying considerable numbers of coins, 35 million here, 25 million there, and around that time, Feb 21, the Fantom network crashed just because the validators couldn't keep up. They had more than 33% of the vote, and they couldn't keep up with all the new validators coming on, and it crashed. So not great, because if you're the military and you're the US military, the biggest military in the world, I think maybe the Chinese just behind, or if you're the Chinese military, and you're looking at the brochures of these different things, and you know that you're going to have to, people don't stop talking about this bloody cryptocurrency, blockchain, smart chain, Hedera, Hashgraph, DAG technology. We understand we need to be in the space. And so they're flicking through the brochures of all these different platforms, and all these guys are coming in from all these different platforms, and they're presenting to the Ministry of Defence in the UK. This is they can't deny it. This is gonna flag as a problem, because it's all very well and good when you're talking about CryptoKitties, but when you're talking about fighter jets in the sky and nuclear missile launch codes, we can't have this. No way, no how. Okay. Again, might never happen again. You might not consider that a big problem, but I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't flag these potential issues to this new platform. Okay, so much like Hedera Hashgraph, the Fantom has a foundation. The foundation's job is to help bring people on board, bring developers on board. So if you are thinking of building a new app for the iPhone, for example, or you're thinking of doing something online, a new project, and you say, which platform, which software, which technology are we going to build our business on, then a lot of the different platforms have a foundation, and they're there to attract investment and brains and big platforms, because it's good for the project, it's good for the ecosystem, it's good for exposure, so it's good all around. You want good people building useful, good, large projects on your platform. Obviously, you want big customers. So they have a foundation, they've created a foundation, and that foundation, to have any sort of substance and any meaning, it's got to have some money, because then they can donate, they can grant people money, they have to apply, and if they're successful, they can grant them some money to go out and physically buy computers to then start coding. And if you can get, $1 million to start your company on Fantom, if they give you that $1 million, are you going to choose them, or are you going to choose Bitcoin, who have no one in charge, no foundation, no one to give you anything to help you on your way? You're clearly, if they're the same, give or take, which they're not, but if they were, you're clearly going to choose Fantom. So that's why the foundations exist, to do good work in the space for the community. So the Fantom Foundation has 370 million FTM. So when formulating and creating the foundation, they assign how many coins that foundation should have in order to do the work that I've just mentioned. 370 million FTM, which is not to be snuffed at. It's a serious number of coins. However, comparing it like for like, Hedera Hashgraph also has a foundation. And they assign 10 billion coins, which is 20% of the total circulating supply. Now, it's a bit unfair to say that these guys have got 10 billion coins and these guys have only got 370 million coins. Okay, well, as a comparable, relatively speaking, 10 billion coins is 20%. 10 versus 50 is 20% of the total supply. 370 million coins versus 3.175 billion total supply represents just over 10%. So it's double the size. The Hedera Hashgraph Foundation has double the number of coins that the Fantom Foundation has. Okay, so they've got a sizable NFT community and it's growing. They secured, I think it was through, there's no mention of this by the way, but people have mentioned a few times, sponsored. So sponsored tells me that somebody in Fantom or in the Fantom Foundation has approached Pierre Gasly, who's a Formula One driver, a very famous Formula One driver, and said, look, we'll do X, Y, and Z if you will create your NFTs on our platform, which I think is a very, very clever thing to do, because all of the fans that this chap has all of a sudden know about Fantom. Never knew about it before, potentially, don't own any cryptocurrency, potentially, but all of a sudden, if he's got 5 million followers on Twitter, I don't know, you all of a sudden have 5 million people who know about the project. So it's a really clever way of creating something tangible that people can use. And it also means that the people who are in the cryptocurrency space and who do use OpenSea on Ethereum, stuck on that island, and then go and buy an NFT by Pierre through the Fantom network, experience the actual use case for these projects, and they move from the money circle to the utility circle. And that is the death nail for the likes of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on. And if you want to know more about the two different circles, the money circle and the Ethereum, the utility circle, click a link in the description below and you can watch that video. It's really quite interesting. I highly recommend you watch that one. Okay, so that's a really clever play, and it's something that I do believe Hedera Hashgraph fails on, is the PR. Now, Fantom have said in a few statements that they're not fussed with advertising and endorsements and all that stuff, and then they go and sponsor Pierre to do NFTs. So, whereas Hedera Hashgraph, I would say their single biggest weakness, in my opinion, is their ability to advertise and spread the word, the good word of Hedera Hashgraph. So maybe they could take a note out of Fantom's book in that sense, in terms of the NFT endorsements. So there's one more red flag that's definitely worth bringing to your attention, and that is that major decisions are made by vote. Now, this is going to come down to personal opinion, by the way. You might feel completely differently to me. You might agree. You might be somewhere in the middle. Major decisions are made by voting. Okay, so how much are we going to reward people who are staking on the network in order, for votes? As an example, all major decisions are done by a vote. Okay, to try and make it fair. Now, in order to be able to vote, this is the first thing. In order to be able to vote, you need 500,000 minimum, 500,000 FTM are required in order to vote. Basically, in order to be a validator, in order to have a say, one man, one vote. Now, the problem with that is that at today's price of $2, that means that you just need just over $1 million in order to have a say in this network, which I think is a little bit unfair. Now, I can't compare this to Hedera Hashgraph yet, because Hedera Hashgraph haven't decentralized yet. So we don't know how many coins, how many Hedera Hashgraph, how many HBAR you're going to need in order to vote. Could be worse, could be better, who knows? I don't believe anything until it's done, it's fact, it's real life, and we can't talk about that yet. So this isn't a comparable, it's just to let you guys know. So you need 500K. And by the way, it used to be $1 million, but now it's 500,000 coins, which is $1 million, or it would have been $2 million. So you need $1 million in order to have a vote. And now, you don't vote, by the way, binary. It's not yes or no, positive or negative. It's how likely are you to agree 1 to 4. So you could say, yeah, I'm kind of like indifferent, so you're a 2, 3. Or you could say, yeah, no, I absolutely want it, which means you're a 4. Or you could say, no, I'm dead against this decision, it's a 1. Now, this is a problem. And the red flag here is for this. Get this, guys. Okay, so everybody who has a validator node, which means basically everybody who has the right to vote, can vote in malicious ways for malicious consequences, trying to say that you bid first or anything that you can think of against the good of the overall network. So they're doing it for responsible reasons. Now, the consequence of doing that is that if you're caught voting deliberately, trying to manipulate the network by vote, you lose all of the coins you stake. Now, that punishment means that most people don't risk, because it's like if you got caught trying to cheat voting at a general election by going in twice. If you get caught going in twice into a general election, you serve life in prison. Nobody would ever, in their right mind, would ever try and vote twice, because the punishment way outweighs any benefit from the crime. There's far easier ways to make money than to be cheating on a node if the consequence of getting caught is losing all your money. But there's a problem. They've had 2 votes, which was the motion of the vote was in both cases was, should we fully refund malicious players who've been caught and had all of their coins taken off them on a node? And both passed. So that's a real alarm bell for a couple of reasons. Number one, because the obvious thing is it opens up the possibility that you can get forgiven. So I catch you trying to go in twice to vote for whoever, Boris Johnson, trying to go in vote Donald Trump or whoever, and I catch you twice voting for Hillary Clinton, and you're served with life in prison, and then we have a vote and you're released. That tells me that number one, what's that going to do? It's either going to be neutral, or more likely, it's going to encourage more malicious players to try because they could get off with a second chance. The other thing is why. That's the more concerning thing for me. It's not just that you have a second chance, so it's life in prison, but then you get a vote and possibly you get let off. You get a presidential pardon, but it's more why. Why were these people acting maliciously? When they were caught, they had all their coins taken off them. They were burnt, so they had all their coins taken off them. Then we held a vote to make sure that we should, not retract and give them all their coins back. And the vote came back that we should pass. So who was voting? Was it the people who were caught in the first place? Because if that is true and that's found to be true, this network, in my mind, collapses. It collapses in on itself. Because it not only is it not decentralized, because by the way, Hedera Hashgraph is not decentralized in the sense that there are a set number of people or organizations that vote, and they're the only people. It's not like blockchain where it's completely decentralized like Bitcoin. It is centralized. However, and this is where the men with the multicolored mohawks and we completely disagree and we part ways. I believe that to be completely decentralized slows the network, environmental issues, not 100% Byzantine proof and so on and so forth. I really believe that it causes more problems than it fixes. And to have 29, 39, a fixed number, but a big number of organizations, charities, big companies that we trust to run the nodes is as decentralized as it needs to be, but not so decentralized that it slows the network and causes issues. To be clear, just to really put this to bed, hopefully for once and for all, you've seen the list of people, hopefully, that are on the governing council of Hedera Hashgraph. Google, the London College of Economics, Boeing, IBM, all different industries, all different countries, all different parts of the world. More than 33% of those people would have to come together and agree to do something malicious against the rest of the network in order to pervert the network. But who at Google is going to pick up the phone and speak to the right person at the London College of Economics or meet up at a gathering and convince the London College of Economics, Boeing, LG, and all these different companies who have been different, FTPOS, the largest debit card transaction company in Australia, and convince these guys, look, let's cheat and do. It's unrealistic. It's just not going to happen. Now, there are people out there who believe that it's like Illuminati and they all meet up in the woods dressed as owls or whatever, and they're all out to screw the little man. And by doing something malicious on the network, they're doing that somehow. But for me, look, guys, come on, it's nonsense. So it's not decentralized. And at least by the way, at least with this, they're answerable. I'd much rather know who the players are, who the voters are, than not. So with Bitcoin, you could be a voter at home with a small mining rig. There could be somebody in another country with almost a third of the votes with massive mining machines, and nobody knows who anyone is. For all you know, one of my mines is running Bitcoin, and I'm one of the people in control. I'd much rather know who's in charge, who's at the wheel, who's answerable. If things go wrong, we've got someone to go to, and someone to hold to account as well. And I think that's really important. Yeah, so red flag, serious red flag here in terms of the both malicious players. Now, I have to be, for complete transparency, I have to be fair. I do not know, you do not know, unless you do, please leave a comment in the description below if you do. I do not know what the details were surrounding this. It could have been an accident, a mistake, so on, and maybe the refund was valid twice, but it's unlikely. So I'm not saying it's impossible that this was a genuine good thing to happen, because I don't know the details and I don't pretend that I do. But it's a red flag. It needs more investigation before we put our life savings into this project. Okay, there's a couple of other smaller points, but it's a bit tongue-in-cheek, but smaller points. These guys, basically, because of Andre and because of his DeFi, his time and his expertise and knowledge in the DeFi space, mean that Fantom are very big, or trying to be very big, in the DeFi area. Okay, that's kind of like if they had to hang their hat on one thing, that would be their USP. As I've said loads of times before, most projects have one thing that they like to specialize in. OMI, economy, their NFTs through VV. It's what they do. You know, they do other stuff too, but that's their thing. These guys, their big thing is DeFi. Except Andre, who's from Australia, he can't even get a big win. No, that's not unfair. No, he's not that he can't get. This guy, you've got an Australian man who's an expert at decentralized finance. He has a project called Fantom. It's what he does, it's what they do, it's their go-to thing. His own country, Australia, the largest debit card / transaction provider in Australia is FPOS, and FPOS is on the governing council of Hedera Hashgraph. So if you've made a name for yourself and you're pretty good, pretty big in a space, you know that the one place you're going to be the biggest in the world is in your home, where you're hero, okay? The next best place is going to be your local hometown, city, whatever. Then it's your country. So, and it kind of goes outwards. So if you are a world champion, Olympian or whatever, when you go home, you know, it's a hero's welcome. Same with football, well, it's the same with technology. So you'd like to think that if Andre is the big cheese in the DeFi space and he's got this project, you'd like to think that FPOS would be with Fantom. But no, they're with Hedera Hashgraph, an American company. There must be a good reason for that. These guys are not stupid by any stretch of the imagination. And there's one more as well, which is another sort of like, you know, kick in the groin for Fantom. And that is Dr. ABI, who's the founder and created this whole thing, got the whole thing going, and then before he bailed. He's from South Korea. Well, the largest bank in South Korea is Shinhan Bank. And guess what? They're another governing council member. So the largest bank in the country from where this whole thing started, the founder's country, is on the governing council of the competition on this board. And the main man, the day-to-day guy, the main runner who sort of took the baton off Dr. ABI and ran with it, he's from Australia, and the biggest player in his space is on the governing council of Hedera Hashgraph. Okay, so to round up, I think Fantom has great potential. I think it is a real project. I think it's got some fantastic technology. I think it's got some pretty decent customers. I think it's got some pretty decent partners. And I think it could go somewhere. It's got a very low or relatively low supply. So I think the price could do some great things. You know, $6, $10, you know, it could even Solana and go to $100 plus, $200 plus. However, as a comparable for this, and I'm genuinely disappointed to say, because there's people saying, well, Max is a HBAR Maxi and blah, blah, blah. But I can't make facts up. I dig as deep as I can, and I find problems, I find things, and I compare. You cannot avoid the fact that there are red flags. There are quite serious question marks in serious parts of this technology's current, where it sits, platform and history. This cryptocurrency, this ledger, has incredible partners, massive partners and customers doing serious work, recording, Holocaust survivors, preventing hundreds of thousands of civilians being killed in aerial attacks, working with $1 billion a year turnover industry, the Coupon Bureau, providing, governing council made up of the largest companies in the world. So when you take this guy's foundation and you say they've got 10% of total supply to play with, and the guys have got a foundation and they've got 20% of the total foundation to play with, you're going to go with the bigger one. Now, that's not to say that these guys don't spend the money more smartly, so they don't need as much. Maybe that's true, but that's for you to decide. But just on the facts, just the basic bare facts, Finality is the same. Cost was the same as now. Obviously, these guys have pumped a little bit. These guys have got a pretty heavy, as legitimate as it gets, founders. These guys did have that, but he's gone. He's left town, and they ring him. He doesn't answer the phone. Nobody knows why. These guys have got some of the largest providers in the world. These guys have got some pretty good customers, but they don't compare. So in my mind, HBAR, Hedera Hashgraph, is the clear winner. Unfortunately, if you've got money in Fantom, I don't think you're crazy at all. I might even buy a little bit myself, just it's pure speculation, because you never know. Somebody who buys into this, could cause the price to go to the moon. But there are some question marks, you know. And if this comes out, by the way, if this comes out by the validators, if that comes out as being, yeah, some people manipulated the network and then voted themselves to be refunded, then that's the end of it and it goes to zero. Or pennies anyway, at least. Anybody, but I believe, anyone who invests, builds, you know, develops, devs on this network is doing so because they either disagree with me, which in my mind makes them nuts, or they've never heard of Hedera Hashgraph. And that could be true, by the way. Don't believe that's not true, because there are hundreds of millions and billions of people who have never heard of Hedera Hashgraph. And if you've never heard of Hedera Hashgraph, Fantom looks like a fantastic project. As always, thanks ever so much for watching. I'll see you soon.